Hey neighbors, it's Brent, and today I am in Frisco, Texas at Lexington. This is a Toll Brothers foundation that was just poured for my lovely couple who happen to be newlyweds. So congratulations again, guys. Let's go walk that foundation and check it out. All right, we just had a torrential rainstorm. So all of this is really loose. And the foundation was poured last week. So remember guys, we're looking for what we call a smooth pour. We're trying to make sure that, of course, obviously there's no massive cracks or holes in it. And then we're looking for spider cracking that's a little deeper than it should be. And we're also making sure that everything seems to be in its appropriate place. All right, of course, they've got all your water pipes. Remember, this is your PEX, this is your water. You're gonna have water lines, sewer lines, drain lines, gas lines, electrical lines, all that stuff's gonna run through here. This stuff right here, let me turn you around. This stuff right here, you see how it's in the cement? This bends over certain parts of the framing and it's attached, and that holds your framing down. More importantly, this stuff right here is called all thread. See, I don't know if you can tell, right? Let me get you over here. Maybe you can see that a little better. See, that's threaded all thread. That's just a big bar of threads, like a screw, embedded in the cement all the way down. And then the framing lumber goes down over this, and then washers and nuts are screwed down to, again, hold down the framing of your home. And that is really important when we get strong winds. And it helps immensely in keeping your home down so that strong winds, a tornado, whatever, can't pull it up. All right, sorry if there's a little wind noise. I'll try to clean it up. It is a very windy day today. We just had a storm blow through last night. So guys, overall, I am really impressed. I'm not seeing any cracking. I mean, this is what we call a smooth pour. So if you ever seen a cheesecake or baked a cheesecake, sometimes you can get cracks on the top of that cheesecake if you bake it at the wrong temp. You don't use a water bath, you bake it too fast, right? I know about this stuff because I've got bakers in my family. That's how come I keep putting on weight. All my people in my family bake for me. But back to my cheesecake analogy. In some instances on a cheesecake, you can get cracking on top, but it doesn't go all the way through the cheesecake. It's just superficial, it's just on the top. You put some kind of topping on it and you can hide it. Well, with foundations, you can have the same problem. Now, this foundation, I have not seen a crack yet. This is an insanely good pour. Very smooth. It's got that creamy look to it, like icing that's spread. That's what we're looking for. So for this build job, A+ to Toll Brothers. We're starting out with a really clean pour. I'm not even seeing any cracking on the brick ledges. I'm not even really seeing any granulation where it's chipping off or anything. The all thread's in tight, the straps are nicely done, the plumbing's nicely wrapped. A+, it looks really good. Now, I did want to show you guys something. A lot of times people misunderstand about how foundations work. So quite frankly, let me spin you around. I'm going to show you something real quick. All right, see this? This is great. They've got this out here. Inside of this foundation, see these cables right here? See those metal cables? See how they're going into the foundation? See that? Okay, it's one of these right here. So you can actually see this is the end plate that'll get screwed on and how that's twisted, right? And then that's the cable. These cables run across and then they run front to back all through this foundation. And they do it in a 2x2 grid, right? Meaning if this was perfectly oriented north to south, you'd have cables running like this north to south, and then you'd have cables running east to west. And then these things have a nut on them, and they're put under like 25,000 pounds of pressure, and it tightens and it squeezes your foundation. It squeezes it. So when it squeezes your foundation together, if there's any foundational shift, if there's any movement in the soil, your foundation will more or less float instead of crack and break like it used to do in the old days. And part of that is because you've got those cables embedded in that, and that's why this type of foundation is called a post-tension cable foundation. Now, this foundation doesn't have Typically, we don't use piers out here with the Toll Brothers. They can opt to do it, but I don't think they need to out on your foundations. I've not seen any piers in this neighborhood. So what this foundation looks like, if you could look at the bottom of it, is it looks like a Kit Kat candy bar. You know how it's got those deep pieces that you bite into, and then it's got the shallow pieces? You might even think of it like a Belgian waffle. And those deep pieces are called beams. And that's the thickest part of your foundation. And talking to your construction manager, that is 36 inches out here on this pour. So you've got 3 feet of concrete going down in the ground as a beam every so often on this foundation. So that's why you've got lateral stability. You've also got tensile strength in it. I'm not going to teach a class on foundations in this video because I'll bore you out of your brain. But I want you to understand some basics, just so you know that this is a pretty good foundation. There's composition. There's a chemical composition of foundations. There is the physical structure of the foundations or type of foundations. And then there's the physical media. So first, chemical composition. In Texas, we have winter blends and summer blends. Some people use them, some people don't. But the chemical composition is altered based on how hot it gets, how fast it'll dry, so on and so forth. Also, the chemical composition will have certain types of aggregate added to it. You may have shredded fiberglass in it. You might even have rocks in certain kind of concrete. This, you're gonna have rebar. So when you do that, that extra material, fiberglass, rocks, rebar, adds to the cohesive force that this chemical cement has. Pure cement can break, but when you add aggregate to it, it adds strength and rigidity. Does it make sense? Okay. Then you've got your physical structure of this concrete, which is, does it have beams? Is it post-tension cable? Is it slab on grade? What is it? And in this case, it's a post-tension cable with deep 36-inch beams. Very good design, especially because the developer out here has already done a lot of lot prep, dirt prep. They even do a deep soil analysis to make sure everything's done properly. So overall, it's looking great, right? If you don't have a firm foundation, then you're off to a bad start. You're gonna have a horrible house. In this case though, it looks like we've had a great pour, a very clean pour, and I can't wait to see them start framing. I think it's gonna be just wonderful. All right, guys, I hope this was informative. This was our first video kicking off this new Toll Brothers build over in Lexington. And you get ready for it. May God keep and bless you. May God cause his face to shine upon you. May God bring you peace. And especially for my clients, may God bless your new marriage. All right, I'll see you guys next.